Hello there, my friends. Welcome to my show. I'm Stan Gray, and this is TRQ, The Right Questions. Something has been on my mind today that I kind of want to just get out there. Not really a rant per se, but something I've been thinking about for quite a while. Wanted to run it by you and see what you thought about it. So this is regarding the one of the issues that I have about Jesus being a human blood sacrifice of himself to himself in order to cover or pay for the sins of mankind. A pretty tall order, right? There's countless songs and ballads of praise and worship talking about how breathtakingly sincere this action is. Even John 3:16, one of the most, probably the most famous Bible verse, or at least the one that shows up in the most tattoos and bumper stickers in my experience. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. The idea of Jesus being a sacrifice, paying for the sins of others, is a extremely essential core tenet of Christianity. But one day I asked myself, is vicarious punishment, or is the concept of someone paying for a crime they did not commit, is that really a good thing? Is that something that we should consider as a positive and viable solution, a viable application of justice? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized it really doesn't work in any other situation, other than, of course, the one that Christians are basically compelled to accept. Because if they don't accept it, in their minds, they are going to hell, and you have to find a way to make that sound right. But if you think about it this way, I'm a real big fan of analogies on this channel, as you might know by now if you've seen a couple of my videos. So here's the question. If an innocent person is made to pay the consequences of a guilty person's actions, is that just? Here's the analogy. Imagine a murderer is being sentenced. He's at trial. He's being sentenced. And someone the murderer doesn't know stands up and says, wait a minute, Judge, I know you just sentenced this murderer to life in prison, but you know what? I'm an innocent man, and I want to pay that murderer's sentence. I want to pay the consequences of his actions. And I will go in his place and spend the rest of my innocent life in prison for his crimes. Number one, any court in the world that would allow that and consider it as being just, imagine the judge saying, okay, hey, you know what? Somebody's got to go to prison for life for these murders, and I don't really care who it is. Sir, you want to go? You're innocent, but you want to go and do this? It's all the same to me, baby. Let's go. Lock him up. The murderer, hey, you're free to go. As long as you, murderer, believe that this man is spending his life in prison on your behalf, you'll be free to go. That is essentially a microscopic version of what Jesus is supposed to have done according to the Christian worldview. But even that tiny, tiny little thing, I mean, the sins of all humanity of all time versus one murderer's illustrious career, even if he murdered someone every day for his entire life, that pales in comparison. So if it's not justice for a single murderer to get away with his crimes because of the vicarious punishment of an innocent person, how could it be just and right, morally right, or any other type of right, for one innocent person to suffer the consequences for all people of all time? It's kind of doesn't really calculate out to me, if you ask me. Logically speaking, you would think that if this concept works in God's favor with the most significant, greatest level of crime possible, then a much, much smaller level of crime should be no problem, right? This is just one of those things that really doesn't compute for me anymore now that I've sort of extracted myself from the Christian worldview mindset where everything must make sense and everything must be right. Otherwise, I'm wrong and I need to pray for guidance or something like this to make these bizarre concepts make sense to me. I don't know. You tell me. If you're a Christian and you believe that it's okay to punish an innocent person to pay for the crimes of a guilty person, if it's great that Jesus did that, why can't it be done in other places in life, even to a much, much smaller extent? I really don't see any logical reason why a Christian would be unwilling to participate in a system like that. And if they were, I mean, why aren't they volunteering to pay for other people's crimes? Isn't that what their God likes to see happen? Just an interesting thing that's been kind of bouncing around in my head. And I wanted to put it out there and see what other people thought about this whole problematic issue, this concept that I've been thinking about. So, hey, if you got anything to say, you agree, disagree, whatever the case may be, let me know down in the comment section, and I will engage with you and figure out, we'll get through this together, because obviously I don't believe that Jesus died for my sins or anyone else's sins. And if he did, I don't think that would be any form of justice. It just doesn't make sense to me. So let's try to help each other out here. All right. Anyways, I'll be seeing you in another video sometime soon, I hope. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content or if you found it to be mentally stimulating or challenging. And I'll see you around. Remember, my friends, if you want the truth, you've got to ask the right questions. I'm Stan Gray. I'll catch you later.